Gahtzu here today, Florida Falcon main, known for many things, but I'll let him do the introduction himself. So, Jason Gahtzu, I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
It's pronounced deal.
Deal. Okay.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the
What's up,
101.
guys? I'm Gahtzu. A lot of you know me as one of the Falcons from 20GX and Florida. Little do other people know, I started the game in about '06 when I was like 14. Uh, and I started as a Genin main because every character was just too fast at that age. I saw Shine Blind, and that video was super inspiring, but I never in my life thought I would be able to move that fast, so I just picked Ganon. And I went to a few tournaments, but it was really hard for me at the beginning because during my early years I was in North Florida, which North Florida doesn't really have the best scene. And on top of that, I lived with a pretty overprotective mother, so it was really hard for me to travel or do anything unless my older brother, who was also into Smash, also traveled. So I had a really hard time actually growing in Smash, and I pretty much didn't really play from '06 to 2010. I played as hardcore as a casual competitor could get, just because I was so limited. And in 2010 is when I moved to Orlando for college, and that's when I told myself, all right, like I'm free from my parents. Um, I'm free from daily homework from high school, so I'm just gonna use all this free time from college to just go out and smash and get as good as I can. And in 2010 is when I really started to get good, when I actually put my total focus on Smash, and I haven't stopped getting better since that year.
Got it. Um, so, in your early days, you mentioned you played Ganon, but I'm trying to, when did you decide to make the jump to Falcon?
Um, as I got better with Ganon, I saw that my tech skill was better, and I was able to have more control of these fast characters. And I got to a point where it was like, well, I want to play a fast character. I'm tired of playing like slow Ganon and getting these two-piece combos. So I decided to pick, I wanted to play a space animal, and I always thought saw Falcon as like the third space animal that didn't have a lot of people on him, and wasn't was getting representation outside of Dark Reign and SS and stuff. So I picked him mostly just because I'm a hipster, and I didn't want to pick Fox or Falco, the other two main space animals. And in 2010 is when I made the full switch from Falcon to Ganon, or from Ganon to Falcon.
But so a lot of people, they have a breaking point, right, where they lose so many times to the same person, and then they finally go, screw this, it's the matchup's unwinnable, I'm gonna switch. Did that ever happen to you, or was it just a self-realization thing?
No, it was more of a self-realization thing. I don't really believe in when people switch characters and stuff. I always think no matter what character you're gonna play, you're always gonna place around the same, no matter what character you are. If someone I think if all the great Fox players, like SFAT, Mango, and Cobalt and stuff, if they put their entire focus into Falcon, for example, or any other top tier, I think they would get really similar results to what they make with Fox. I think the character really doesn't add that. It doesn't make a huge drastic change in your overall performances, because you're still going to think the same. You're still going to make similar decisions in spite of what character you play. And you're still going to make similar mistakes.
I see. And then you started, playing in your local area. I assume you played with a lot of the old school players of Florida.
Yeah.
Ua, P, Eichelman, I don't know, the Shizwiz, people from the old school and people that are newer school. But when did you begin traveling to majors? Because you mentioned in 2010, hey, I'm free. So when did you start going from locals to regionals and nationals?
I think my first regional was tipped off 7 or something. And my first national was, I think, Apex 2012, where I fought PC Chris for first seed in pools, and that didn't go too well at the time. So I would say 2012 is when I started to really start traveling a lot, and when I actually started to go to from like major to major and not missing tournaments was pretty recently, like within the last year and a half, when I finally got a local sponsor here in Orlando who helped pay for my flights, and that's when I went to like Aftershock and Sandstorm, and since after that point in time, I just haven't missed a major tournament for a long time.
I see. I think your first big national was Apex. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And how's that experience for you?
It was really cool. I kind of always felt like I was really good based on my results in Florida. Like at the time, I was getting like fifth at the locals and stuff, which is pretty difficult in Florida. It's a really stacked region, a lot of good players. So I was pretty confident going in, and my pool had like a lot of sheiks, um,
Ouch.
and I was still pretty confident, and I beat all the sheiks because probably because I was like okay at the level I was at, I was better at the matchup than the sheiks that I was playing. So I took them out somewhat handily, and then when I got to PC Chris, it was like all right, this is like the final boss I have to conquer, and that was the first time I got four stocked on stream. It was by PC Chris, and I was just kind of like, damn, there goes that.
But it wasn't as much of a shock to you because you've probably played people like Hungrybox and the Shizwiz before in Florida. So
Right, right.
um, I noticed like for a while, like I think I heard of you at 2012, but like I noticed you didn't really attend much until like 2 years later. So what explains the
Right.
gap?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, well, primarily just the money I had available. Uh, I still didn't have a really solid job for a really long time. Like a lot of my time spent in college was practicing Smash. So I actually got really lucky with landing this game development internship, and since I got that internship, I just haven't left that field of getting like a programming type job. So once I finally got a good job, and then that sponsor I mentioned before is when I could finally afford to buy flights and stuff, and just having a job that gives you enough money to pay for that as well as live decently was is really nice. But of course, on the other hand, when you have a job, you can't spend nearly the amount of time you want to practicing. So it becomes this weird balancing act you have to do of balancing your work and how much you want to smash and stuff.
I see. Yeah, that's always like the dilemma, right? Because that was my issue. It's like either you have the money or you either have the time, and it's rarely ever both.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have the money and you try to do crowdfunding, the only way crowdfunding is going to work is if you're already a good player. And it's hard to become a good player without that experience of traveling.
I agree. I totally know how you feel there.
Yeah.
So your performance since 2014 indicate that you were a pretty solid player. At Apex 2014, you got top 64, which isn't bad. It indicates that you're pretty decent. So I
Right.
guess what were you doing to maintain being really good? Who were your practice partners, and what were some of the routines that you were doing for yourself?
For a long time in my past years, like starting from 2010, I was kind of a melee elitist in terms of I didn't like to play with people that I thought weren't as good as me, and now that I'm matured more, I know that playing anyone is good. Just playing even if you play someone that's worse than you, just playing another style of person helps a lot. It helps you adapt and to think more about this other completely different entity that you're fighting with their own set of thoughts and actions. So now I'm older, I realized that was incorrect, but I would only play with like the PR players, and if I wasn't playing with them, I was practicing stuff that I would mess up, and practicing tech skill that I wasn't quite 100% on. And I even eventually had like a small affair with Fox. I feel like every Falcon main eventually starts to like toy with Fox a little bit, and you kind of come to a crossroads where it's like, okay, you're toying with Fox, you might like Fox, same amount as like Falcon, and you have to kind of pick which character you want to go for because they're both really similar in what they do and how they attack certain strategies. So I eventually just stuck with Falcon after that, even though I built my Fox up, and that's that.
I see. And then, where did at what point did you just go like, I'm pretty good? Like, what tournament was that for you? Like, you know, it seems like you have a lot of confidence, right? But sometimes, you know, the nationals results don't quite get there because of whether it's like seeding or, you know, like 65th maybe isn't actually that good. But like, where'd you like,
Yeah.
where did that point
Honestly,
happen?
for me, I my whole Melee career, I've been really adamant on money matches, and I really believe that they are. It's the only type of set you could play with someone that is the closest it can get to a tournament setting, uh, because money's on the line and all that stuff. You're fighting for something. So when I would go to tournaments, as you know, I would keep like a list of all the players that I would beat in money matches and stuff. And I think that helped boost my confidence a lot. Like, oh, I beat Kage, I beat the Moon, I beat Tafokints in these money matches, and I feel like the money matches more than my results help boost my confidence.
Oh yeah, I remember that list.
Yeah,
It was 2014 where you jokingly put the fraudulent list, and I was like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
little
yeah.
punk." I was like, if I had I known, I was like, ugh. But anyway,
Yeah, I know. It's a total douche thing to do. In retrospect, it's like you're asking someone for a money match, and it just seems like, oh yeah, just this a nice like friendly kind of a no strings attached money match, and then if you lose it, you go on some like unknown list that
yeah.
you told about before.
Well, it's cool now because like I know how you act, and I know that you're just
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
there's it's like lighthearted, but like initially I was like, oh, Gahtzu's a little punk.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
um,
and that was my thing for a long time. Is I loved shit talking, and I loved kind of stirring things up, but eventually I kind of realized my results didn't reflect the same results I had in money matches, which was kind of weird to me. And I kind of realized I kind of fell out of the money match phase because I realized who cares how good I do in these money matches? Who cares who I beat in these money matches? Tournament results are all that matter in terms of like how you're perceived and in terms of opportunities you get in the future.
yeah, I agree. And then so at what point did you, Wizzy, and Gravy start getting together, or is that somewhere much later down the timeline for you?
Um, I forget. I think Gravy moved here maybe 2 years ago. Prior to Gravy moving, Wizzy and I would lab a lot. Not a lot, but like we would talk about Falcon and stuff. But when I felt like up until Gravy moved to Florida, I personally was a very instinctual player. I didn't really think about frame data that much. You know, I knew some stuff, but not to the extent that I do now. I feel like Gravy kind of helped Wizzy and I look at the more technical aspects of Melee and kind of give us more self awareness into what we're actually doing in the game and how it affects the overall gameplay. Because I know Wizzy too, because he was so young, he couldn't really consciously tell you what was happening. He just knew that what he was doing was pretty much correct.
He still can't. I've tried talking to him, and like he's
Yeah, but he's a lot better of an idea of what's going on in the match than he did when he was like 16 or 15 or something.
well, that's fair. That's fair. I agree with you, but like sometimes like talking to Wizzy and trying to get him to talk about things is like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right, so summer comes around, and I think this is where you start getting um, popular. Was the Smash the Record event, right?
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit of how you went about that, and like why you decided to do it.
So for Smash the Record, they obviously need someone who would dare try to stay up for 2 days playing Smash, and me and my current roommate Fearless, he's another Smasher in Florida. Uh, we're kind of known as the guys who would just like be smashing 24/7. It would be like 4 a.m. We'd post in some thread and ask who wants to play. A few hours go by. We're still awake in the morning asking who to play. So it was kind of like a good fit for me, I feel, to go into that event and do it. And prior to the event itself, I went to Cherry's house and we did a few like mock sessions where I would stay up for like pretty much as long as I could. And ironically, in those mock sessions we did, I never actually stayed up for a full 48 hours. It would always be like a little bit under. And then when I get to the actual event, I stay up like more than I ever have, or more than I ever wanted to, for 3 days. And I don't think I would ever do it again because I felt like really toward the end of the 72 hours, my body was giving me really weird signals. Like I would feel this like this pulse, or not a pulse, but like I would feel like a shock go through my body, and I never felt that before, and it was a little scary. But I ended up getting through it totally okay, and it was a fun time.
Did you end up like? Did at any point did you feel like you were just gonna die?
The only thing that scared me was the shock that I told you about, where I would get this weird electric pulse throughout my body, just because I had no experience with it before, so I didn't know what it could be or anything. But it ended up being totally okay. And the funny thing about Smash the Record is that I had a lot better of a time playing with top players than I did with playing with lower levels. I felt like time went by a lot faster when I had to use a lot of mental energy to keep up with the people I was playing than when I'm playing with these low level players and I don't really have to think much. My mind kind of starts getting boring and I start literally falling asleep at the controller. So when I was tired, I always try to get like, where's Mewtwo King? Is he up at 2 a.m.? Yeah, of course he is. Bring him over here. Or like, where's Pluff? I need to play him now because I'm falling asleep. So that was really cool to be able to kind of order these top players to play and to learn from while I was doing that. And I think it did help me a lot.
So you're because when I play Hugo, it's the most boring experience ever. So are we insinuating that I think he's a low-level player?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally messing.
Yeah. But what you say, I think you're just someone who would play Hugo and think he was boring. I think they're just not thinking about all the interactions that are happening because they're still like Hugo's still trying to play these mental games with you and trying to bait you to come in and stuff. And just even the act of resisting the urge to go in because you know it's a bait, that is enough to like keep you stimulated and to keep your mind going, I think.
And so did you also notice like your play just like dropping completely? How did it change when like you were like 48 plus hours in?
I actually felt like I did a really good job at staying really technical throughout the whole time because I was afraid that people would tune in toward the latter half of it and see like Gahtzu Falcon just flopping around. But I kind of made it a point to just keep playing like almost as fast as I could while I was on stream and while I played these tough players, just so I kept challenging myself. And once again, it's one of those things that would help me stay awake.
Okay, got it.
So I didn't feel like, at least for me, a huge drop in my technical performance. Maybe in my decision making, there would be a few flops, but as far as like execution, I didn't feel like I failed too hard.
That's actually amazing that you weren't dropping stuff. I vaguely remember watching towards that. I'm like, oh, like he still looks pretty good.
Yeah, right.
So in this phase, you had a list at least at Apex. What was like your list at this point in time? Because like, I'll put you probably like in the top 75 to 100 range at this point. You have some like decent wins. Tournament results weren't there, but like, what was your list of like players? Like if you're recurring DJing, right?
Yeah. The people that I beat was, man, I might have it still on my phone, or it might be on my other phone. It's hard to remember past. I know the wins that I was proud of were like Kage, the Moon, Tafokints was a decent win, and who else was there?
Hugs and MacD were on your list for a while, though, right?
No, MacD actually destroyed me. I talked so much shit to MacD. he was in a hotel room with me, PB and J, and I was just like talking relentless shit that I don't think he was a good Peach player. I thought he was really easy, and PB and J was like, "Oh man, I got to record this," and then MacD just like obliterates me. It was like a pretty quick 3-0, and so MacD was not on the list. He was on the other list of people that kind of trumped me. What Hugs may have been on the list. I know me and Hugs have kind of been going back and forth in money matches for a few years because we do them every so often at majors.
Hmm.
But I had definitely some good wins in there, and definitely helped me kept going and kind of gave me external reassurance that like I was on the right track in terms of getting better.
Right. And then I think your big like solid performance was probably let me think. The one where I was like, oh, Gahtzu's like pretty good was probably Super Smash Con. Would you agree?
Uh, I would agree in terms of objective results. And I guess beating MacD is a good win, and beating the Moon was really good because I hadn't done it prior to that. But I felt like at Aftershock and Sandstorm is when I started looking really good, and I started implementing a lot of the 20GX stuff. And I thought I was playing really well there as well, and I did well against like West Balls and Hungrybox at Sandstorm. So SmashCon was the best objectively, but I thought I also played well in those other two tournaments.
So we'll stop the progression, but so 20GX, right? This movement comes in lieu of 20XX around Big House 4, I guess, and then in 2014. Do you like how the meme kind of panned out for you guys, or do you think there's a lot of misconceptions? Do you guys regret how like the direction of it, or tell us?
Yeah, I liked. So originally, I wanted it to be called 20CF, right? CF for Captain Falcon, and Gravy wanted it to be F0XX, and I thought that was stupid because it just spells fox. So
Yeah.
I didn't like that, and he thought 20CF was like too basic and kind of lame. So we kind of came to agreement 20GX, and I like that a lot more because you flip the year in the first X of 20XX, right? And now it's 20GX. So I thought that was a cooler parody of the whole 20XX meme. But in terms of misconceptions and stuff, I think there are a lot. I think when people think of 20GX, they think of like primarily just tech chasing, which I feel like 20GX is more about movement and positioning than it is about tech chasing. Tech chasing was kind of like just a result from looking at different movement and positioning options. Um, Instead of just being like solely focused on just tech chase, regrab, this is the only thing you have to do. It's not just that, especially because we advocate the aerial tech chase, which is a lot more fun to see and a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more fun to be the victim of. It's more fun to get stomped and to be able to DI and stuff than it is just to get thrown again. Because I do understand that when you are getting tech chase, it's not that enjoyable because you're literally being prevented from playing the game, right? You're just getting thrown, and you only get to choose DI and a tech option, and that can get depressing.
Yeah.
So I think the aerial tech chase, what 20GX actually advocates more so than the regrabs, is is better for everyone involved.
I see. And so, do you like the perception it carries now, or are you guys just running with it? Because it seems like it's a very polarizing thing whenever somebody brings up 20GX in the
Yeah,
chat.
I think because Wizrobe gets better results than Gravy and he's more in the spotlight, and people kind of see him as like the uh, I guess pinnacle would be a decent word to use, like the pinnacle of 20GX. When Gravy and I have our own styles that are completely different from Wizzy's, and we still implement these 20GX techniques of positioning and movement that look. I feel like the Gravy Dittos, or the Gravy Dittos, wow, the Falcon Dittos Gravy and I have um, can be like super insane at times. We're just both moving super fast, and doing these crazy technical inputs to hit each other.
Can you give the chat an example of, I guess, like where your styles differ? Because I feel that everybody puts you guys in the same collective bucket, for which is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I personally feel like I might be the least like 20GX of the Falcons because my tech chasing isn't on point yet. I'm practicing it, but Gravy and Wizrobe definitely have it down pat more than I do. So you'll see me go for a lot more reads and stuff like that in my punishes. Oh, I got a burp. And Gravy also likes to throw out a lot of aerials and be more in your face than say Wizrobe might be at most times. And I feel like for me as well, I like to move around a lot and kind of manipulate my opponent that way, based on choosing different attacks or different positions to attack from, and doing those hard reads because I know that I'm manipulating them based on what I've done in the past and how they were teching before. And it's kind of cool. One upside from the whole 20GX is only about tech chasing thing is that when I fight a fastballer and they think like, all right, he's gonna tech chase, so I'm gonna use like my best anti-tech chase options, which are mistech and tech in place. And so I know they're thinking that. So I'll just like knee them or stomp them in the face just for doing that because they're trying to do the best counter option to the tech chase. So that's always fun. But I would think primarily Wizzy likes to uh, revolve his playstyle around getting that grab. Uh, Gravy likes to hit you a lot and then get the grab, and then I like to just move around a shit ton, and then I'm either gonna hit you or grab you, and that's like the most boiled down way I could describe it because we all three also do similar things in our punishes, which would be I think if you saw a Falcon punish off up throw, we would all look the same. But if you saw a Falcon punished off stomp, I think that's when we would start differing a little bit. Wizzy might knee after a stomp and then set up for an edge guard. Uh, Gravy might do like an up air and reverse bear or something, and I might nipple spike or something.
I see.
So, yeah, that's probably the best way I could currently describe it.
So I guess the red, I guess the large elephant in the room, right, is your relationship with SUJ. So can you tell us how it kind of started?
Oh yeah. When I first met Johnny before the whole 20GX thing, it was at that Apex 2012 tournament, and I fought him. I don't know if it was a seriously or a money match, but I fought him. I did decent, and I'm like, oh, SUJ, like, how'd I do against you, you know? I was still a little nublet, and he said nice things to me, and then later on he posted in the Florida power ranking thread where I was at the time I was just an honorable mention. He's like, oh, Gahtzu will be on there soon enough, super stacked region. So Johnny was like super super nice to me at the beginning, and then toward later on when 20GX started happening, I think the next time I really got personal with Johnny was at
Sandstorm?
Sandstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both got housed in the same place, and I was like, just at that time, Johnny didn't shield drop, and he did do his shield stop stuff, but he didn't pivot. So I was kind of like telling Johnny, like, you got to learn these techniques, dude, because 20GX Falcons are only going to get better at it, and you're going to fall behind and stuff like that. And I was personally trying to help him and give him advice, but now I know Johnny's not the type of person to want advice unless he explicitly asks for it. So that happened, and we had a few incidents. Like we were both kind of drunk at the housing we were at, and almost got into a fight. but it didn't happen. And at the venue as well, we almost got into a fight. We did like a money match, and it was really close. Uh, I think I lost that one, and then some words were exchanged, and then we, we almost fought again or something. And the whole time, I thought Johnny was just like, uh, not kidding, but I thought he was just I never thought that Johnny would actually like throw a punch at me, but according to the stories I heard, Johnny does get pretty. He can get kind of aggressive when he's drunk. So I thought that was funny. That like the risk I thought would like was never there. It was actually it could have happened. You know, if I pushed hard enough, I pushed Johnny hard enough, then something could have actually happened. I think that's hilarious.
And you can be a little bit of a troll too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a huge asshole at times. You saw it in the crew battles. No one saw this, but when Wizzy got Kid down to the Sopo on his last stock, I went up and I shook hands with all the Ice Climbers players, as in like, you know, good game, it's over. There's no way the Sopo is going to beat Wizzy. So stuff like that, and I think that shows in my tournament play as well. Is that a lot of the times I'm not afraid to make a statement or prove a point to a player. You can kind of see that in my last stock against MacD at SmashCon. I go for this up air nipple spike, and I ended up not getting the nipple spike, but he still didn't meter cancel, and that was just like a fuck you from me. Just like, I'm not afraid of you, MacD. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna style on you as hard as I can, and that could have not worked out. You saw it with the Moon at SmashCon as well. I did the dash attack to drop zone knee. And even at this most recent tournament against Johnny, where I took him to the pit, that was a very conscious decision I made to, once I stomped him into the pit, I stayed in the pit. And I could have easily just taken the percent that I got from that and backed off and, you know, camped until the transformation was done. But I wanted to really badly prove a point of like, Johnny, I'm not afraid to fight you in close quarters in the pit. And I'm going to try to take the stock most as aggressively as I can, and it ended up not working out. Just because I try to get him in the pit itself, and I try to keep him in the corner with rapid jabs, but I think like I actually accidentally did a gentleman because he grabbed me after the knee of the gentleman and got a stomp and then the knee. So that was kind of weird to me of how he grabbed me before my rapid jabs came out. So I have to rewatch that and see what happened. But a lot of the times in a match, I am not afraid to give the player a big fuck you when I have the option presented.
I see.
And I think that can be a small setback of mine because it doesn't always result in the best play if I miss or they dodge it somehow.
My work in progress theory is that you guys all low key have ginormous egos, and by you guys I mean Falcon mains.
Yeah, of course. I don't think it's low key, but yeah, I would definitely say so.
All right, so how are you and Johnny doing in general these days? Because
we've kind of agreed that we just have two very conflicting and different outlooks on a lot of the aspects of the game, and we just kind of leave it at that and just tell each other. We still tell each other whenever we find something new out. We let each other know, and the other party just takes that info and uses it as they wish. There's not much. There hasn't been conflict between me and Johnny in terms of like how we think about the game for a very long time, because I just think we both kind of agree to disagree at this point.
I see. It's so funny when you guys have your little Twitter antics.
Yeah.
Well, this further proves that beef isn't really real. I guess it was at a little point, though.
Yeah, it definitely was at some point. But yeah, a lot of the beef is for fun, I would say.
Right. So let's see. You go to Super Smash Con, right? And you have like a couple of little demons with MacD and Hugo, I guess. I don't know what your history was with Hugo, but you finally beat both of them, right? I heard you like destroyed Hugo in money matches off stream. And you finally beat MacD, this guy that like embarrassed you. I'm sorry, at MLG Anaheim. Not gonna front there.
Yeah,
And
you're right. You're right.
and
Yeah, it's that obviously felt good. Another reason why I chose to end the set the way I did. Um, and I actually haven't fought him since that set, so I'm really interested to fight him again and see uh, what new things he can bring to the table, and as well as how he's going to react to the new things that I bring to the table.
makes sense. Let's see. So like 2015 is going like kind of well, but for some reason, I don't know what it is, but like you had a lot of random struggles. I mean, the names could go on. I don't know if
Mhm.
I want to say it out loud, but what kind of happened in those situations? Like you lost to
Uh,
Crush, Dreffen, four stopped by KK. So like, what was kind of happening in your gameplay that like people were exploiting, or like were you tunneling? Was it nerves? Like, what exactly was happening? Where like you're being MACD in hugs, and then you're losing to like Crush. Crush, decent player, but like no offense to him, but
yeah,
just inconsistency all around.
right. I think the results of those matches are still something. The reason for losing those is still a similar reason for uh, why I have some bad results today. And I think I just like really mess up sometimes. My execution isn't always the best. I feel like I really have to get my motor running in order to play and execute the best I'm able to. And prior to that, if I don't have time to get my engine going, then I feel like I my tech skill is kind of all over the place. Uh, if I'm getting hit in shield in a way that I'm not really used to, I might like roll and then walk out of my roll instead of dashing out and stuff like that. So I think if I get into these matches and someone isn't letting me move the way I like to move in order to get my engine going, is that I can kind of fall apart at times.
I see. I felt really bad warming you up for KK at Big House 5 because I remember I told you like, hey, like it's okay that one bad match it happened while you were playing me in a friendly. You'll do
Yeah,
fine
right.
against KK.
Out of there. Don't worry about it, Gahtzu. You're good. Nope. You're
I
just being precursor to all that. I think if I fought him now, it'd be way different. I have a much better understanding of the Sheik matchup now. A lot of well, the one thing you said where I was looking for dumb forward tilts was right because that's a big part of how I was beating the other Sheiks that I was playing against prior to that KK match. I was practicing with them. I would bait out a lot of forward tilts and get punishes off that, but KK wasn't giving it to me, so I was kind of a little more lost on what to do. And KK is just a great Sheik in general, so I think it was kind of harder to prepare for him than I thought.
Did you just find like yourself tunnel? Because that's like something I noticed, right? Like 20GX when you optimize towards a certain things, like you kind of tunnel, and that's something I noticed with Gravy. Initially, when I was playing with him, when he was starting to get decent and starting to get good,
Mhm.
is that something you guys were like kind of aware of as a group?
I think if you see us tunneling, it's more so because we're trying to really get that whatever we're doing down uh, to as well as it could be. Um, I feel like if I'm tunneling on something, it's either because I'm like trying to drill it in, even if it is tournament. You still have to do it to. You still have to perform the techniques you're not comfortable with in tournament in order to get them comfortable in tournament. So that's a factor, uh, as well as I think probably uh, just kind of forgetting that there are other options that may not seem too good at the time, but because you're using like Falcon's best options all the time, they gain more value. Uh, like Falcon kicking in the corner. I feel like Falcon kicking in the corner was really good, and then in like 2014 and 2015, it became bad again because it got really popular. But once it became popular, now in 2016, I feel like it's a little better because people stopped doing it because it got punished. And I think sometimes we can forget about that. That sometimes doing the Randy knee across stage is a great option because it has so much value now that you don't use it as often.
Do you ever play like Settlers or anything?
Settlers?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, never mind. I don't know. It's just like when something is like so unpopular that that commodity becomes popular. It's like a trading tabletop board game.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, very similar to that.
So you're going into 2015 kind of disappointing. Do you see yourself like now like on the come up? Like where do you like see yourself as a player? Did you think the 45th was approximately fair, or did you feel like really upset and say like, man, like I was so underrated? FSSPM
Uh,
rank.
I think the 45th was, from my perspective, I thought it was pretty generous in terms of like who I lost to that year and my results. Um, so I guess those money matches paid off because everyone knows or thinks I'm good, however you look at it. And this year I'm not as comfortable with where I am because I still have a lot of flubs. You still will sometimes see me rolling around the corner. Um, you'll still see me like miss a shield drop or miss some kind of punish or conversion, and that's the kind of stuff that makes me really uncomfortable. And especially when I go back and I watch a match I thought I had performed really well in, and I watch it and I start to see all these different mistakes I make. It makes me really, I guess, kind of self-conscious of like where am I really at. So my main goals right now are to I'm going through all my recent matches and finding the situations where I didn't execute what I wanted to, and then just drilling all those out because I've gone to a point where it's all these little small different scenarios that I have to drill out. Like you can practice to shield drop up air, for example, all you want if nothing's hitting you or if a Marth up tilt is hitting you, right? And you can get good at that situation, but that doesn't make you good at the entirety of shield drop up air. You still have to do it like when maybe a fox drills your shield or an up smashes your shield or something. Any situation you have to execute whatever technique you're doing and be comfortable with it, or else you truly haven't mastered it.
Hmm. Do you get nervous when you play on stream or like when there's a crowd?
I feel like I play better when I'm on stream, or at least I feel better. I feel like I have more of a drive uh, to perform better. Uh, but more so if I feel like I'm fighting a player who I'm not expected to beat. Uh, I guess like some sort of underdog syndrome where I feel more motivated, and I actually hate playing off stream because it just feels like another friendly to me.
Mm, I see. Because you always, I don't know, maybe it's like my personal bias. You always get caught on the worst end of things where it's like now it's like, oh crap, you may be known as the Falcon that like lost the Lord.
Yeah, right. That's a little unfortunate, but that setup wasn't really on stream. That was kind of like a recorded off stream setup. So um, I wouldn't say that was a match where like I felt really energized to be on stream or something. I just kind of tried to play my best, and it just wasn't working. I was not playing my best, and the Lord really got me for it, and he surprised me with a lot of his techniques that he was using.
So you're just like, it was just like one of those other instances where like you had a base game plan and they knew what to do about it, and you didn't have a game plan to counter that.
Right, and the funny thing about that is I played Lord prior to our set in friendlies, and he did similar things to what he did in our set, but because we're playing friendlies, I like kind of wrote them off. I didn't even register them in my head. I was just like, Lord's like a silly guy doing all these side Bs and like crazy stuff, and then he does those same things in tourney, and I'm just kind of like, oh shit, I should have like paid more attention to our friendlies, but it seems so. I try not to ever take friendlies seriously, but uh, I guess I have to not take them seriously, but kind of look more into the decisions the player's making because even though they're playing friendlies, they're still revealing to you a shell of how they think and how they feel about things.
Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't catch the memo that Lord plays everything like a friendly.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the rare cases where it's actually the case. Um, so like, how do you now adapt to those situations then? Because that was like kind of a common theme where like your base camp game plan doesn't quite work. Like something like the player's like a little janky, and
Mhm.
like, what do you do now in those situations where you it's like, oh crap, this is nothing what I prepped for.
I have to recognize the small parts in the Falcon Ditto that I will autopilot, like shield grabbing and holding down, hoping they like jab me after an aerial. So I still get the grab even if I'm not facing them, and I get the grab even if they jab me. Stuff like that where he would do an aerial on my shield, and I would go for that crouch cancel shield grab, and instead of jab me, he would do a side B, and so that would just completely throw me off. And also outside that situation, um, he would do these upward angled forward tilts at times where I would like to jump in because I thought either he was going to jump in as well or he was going to stay grounded, and now I can like get some advancement on him. So I would think it's more of the I would have to polish and pay attention more to those small, uh, really good options that I do a lot that he wasn't letting me get away with.
I see. Have you ever thought about like stealing like some of Lord's ideas after that set?
Yeah, and I definitely have. I really like the up air he was doing to keep me off of grabbing the ledge, and some Falcon kick shenanigans he did, and I even implemented the different angled forward tilts into my play. I was doing forward tilts before I fought Lord, but Lord kind of showed me that it is a good option even at this level and stuff. So I'm just more conscientious about doing them now.
I see. So what are your plans now? What are your goals? Like, um, unfortunately, you had an unfortunate ending to Pound 2016. It almost feels like you beat. It's one of those unfortunate aspects of melee where you like fight these little benchmarks, and all of a sudden, like they add like two 45-pound weights on you, and you just like crumble underneath like the weight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's how 2016 has been, where like you beat the people you should have beat, and you lose to these people that are like arguably like in a higher tier than you. So like, where do you want to be by let's say summer?
I'd like so what I was ranked like 45th in 2015. I'd like obviously I'm trying my hardest not to fall below that rank, um, and to kind of get into that top top 25 tier. Idealistically, everyone says, I want to be the best by the end of the year. I want to be really good. Uh, I realistically want to get like I think top 20, top 25 is where I'd be really comfortable being. Uh, I'd like to overthrow Johnny and Wizzy, or not overthrow, but like compete with Johnny and Wizzy for the place of like best Falcon or whatever. And the only way I can do that is to get better results than them and to tune up all the uh, negative aspects of my play.
What do you think are
So,
some of your biggest weaknesses right now, other than like the things you've mentioned with regards to like messing up your tech?
um, I think sometimes I like to play. I'll like to. How do I describe this? Sometimes I'll like to do these small, like, I don't know if you, I guess gimmick would be the right word. Like I'll run around on platforms and kind of do these weird, like, the stomps on platforms to see if the player knows how to deal with them. And if they do know how to deal with them, I'll adjust that a little bit. And I just got to get, uh, I would like to be more of a solid player in someone's face. A lot of the times you see me play, I'm kind of spaced very far away from the person, and that's so I have time to react, one, and so another reason is to utilize the full extent of Falcon's like lunging ability to lunge at them from far away distance. Because since I'm far away from them, I'm not in their range, but they're still in my range. So I like that aspect a lot. But I think it's something that I have to tone down on. And I'd like to be much more of an in-your-face player than I am right now. Because I think all Falcons, I end up becoming in your face once I get that hit or once I get that neutral advantage, which I think every Falcon player does. They get that hit and they start throwing out all these moves. But I like to space around you, even if I haven't hit you yet. I'd like to still play closer than I am now.
I see. What do you think are some of your strengths as like, that are unique to you that maybe aren't
Um,
unique to other players?
I like to use movement a lot and positioning a lot to get what I want, and a lot of my stuff, or not a lot, but some of my things are very improv. So I do a lot of weird things sometimes. I can't just I would have to like show you clips or something of what I'm talking about, but because a lot of my stuff is improv, I get a lot of weird angles on hitboxes and a lot of I wouldn't say peculiar combos, but things you wouldn't think would have worked against that player. But mostly, I think I have super, super crisp movement when I'm playing the way I want, and I can like dance circles around anybody.
Hmm. I
And I think that's what I've prided myself the most my whole career is just being like a very movement, uh, quick Falcon.
What was it? What do you think about Falcon?
I love him.
What's
I think he has the potential to be the best. And I say that because you think of Falcon, right? And would you say Falcon loses to any floaty in the cast? Like, not really, right? The only character I think you could really maybe make an argument for is Sheik. But I feel like Sheik just has uh, easier punishes she has to perform to kill Falcon, while Falcon still has zero to death options. They're just harder to execute and harder to perform. But I feel like just because something is easier or harder doesn't mean that it's necessarily better or worse.
Well, to a certain extent, though, right? Because like wobbling, like if you get the grab, rest assured you're getting the wobble like 9 times out of 10, right?
Right, right, okay. Um, yeah, I guess, like you said, to a certain extent, but Falcon uh, isn't doing all he can against Sheik. Like the aerial tech chase still works on Sheik, and if you get a stomp on a Sheik, she usually dies or at least sets up for an edge guard, which Falcons still aren't the best at edge guarding Sheik. Like there's still things that we can do. Uh, I don't think the Sheik matchup is as hard as it appears right now. I just think all of us aren't polished enough in certain areas of it. Um, so that matchup maybe even or in Falcon's favor or whatever from my perspective because you can't tech chase her and you can't tech chase her with aerials, so you can kill her earlier and you have to spend less time doing regrabs. While she only has the option to regrab you and Sheik's dash attack too, right?
I don't
And
know. Like I
this,
feel like at my skill level, like I should absolutely have no chance against like any of you Falcons, and for some reason, like Falcon was my ticket to getting decent placings all of 2015.
yeah, everyone sucks versus Sheik. Or they may not suck overall, but they're not as good as they could be in all the areas. Like, who have you seen edgeguard Sheik perfectly every time, and like get around all of Sheik's little tricks to edgeguarding or to getting back to the stage? And for fast fallers, Falcon just can tech chase them to death and combo them at times if the thing's set up right. And he as a character has uh, the most options from a standing position because he has the ability to choose an option or choose a position he wants to go at, and then he can variate his decision from there because he has so much drift uh, when he's in the air, more so than like Fox and Falco. So he can make a decision and then vary that decision based off what's happening in the match or what's happening at the moment in order to get that grab, which leads into the death.
It almost, you guys had like a very, it kind of reminds me of Hugo with how optimistic he is with
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. It is very optimistic, but uh, someone needs to think that way, right? Someone needs to believe in the character, or else it's not going to get done. I feel like.
yeah. Do you foresee anybody breaking into the top three of a major as Falcon?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I could realistically see Wizzy and even Johnny at this point doing that. If they're having a good day and doing everything they need to do, I think I could envision them making that run. Um, and I think those would be the main two at the current state of everything that I could envision happening. Like even this past tournament, Johnny could have made a really good run if he beat Ladondis, and if Wizzy and Johnny didn't have to meet in bracket, I think Wizzy also could have made a good run.
Mm, nice. It's gonna be like really tough because it would have been Ladonis and Swedish. Then who was else in the bracket? It would have been Ladonis, Swedish, Mango for top three.
Okay. Oh yeah, Mango. Since Mango lost to Hacks and Winners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mango's obviously the toughest one to conquer out of all those, but I mean, we've seen hasn't Wizzy had close games with Mango?
He has. I think at PAX. I think went 3-1 in Mango's favor though.
Okay, well, if there was a Falcon to I would envision beating Mango once again, it would be Wizzy or Johnny. Johnny because he knows Mango so well, right? So he might know a lot more ins and outs than anyone else. And Wizzy just because he has the ability to to contain Mango with his superb tech chasing ability, and I think it's really hard as a player who likes to attack and move around so much as Mango to kind of be contained that entire time and then jump back into the next stop at full power. When at the same concept of like getting your engine going, it's hard to play like that on the spot when you need to after you weren't moving for an entire stock.
So what was it? So who are like the biggest roadblocks, right? Like I'm pretty sure you, Wizzy, and Gravy get around, like huddle up and say like, okay, who are the biggest roadblocks to us? Like us being Falcon, us being 20GX. Like who are you guys like targeting?
Uh, I kind of had a conversation with Gravy today about like Koval really gives us all a hard time, and for me personally, I've played Koval with like for years and years. Koval knows me so well. He knows how like I feel about certain interactions, and he really knows how to get me tilted. And so I feel like in Florida, we have to stop like getting trunched by Koval every now and then. You know, we'll still do well and we'll still potentially take sets from Koval, but there are times where he'll just like go to town on us, and it doesn't even look like we had a chance. So, for me personally, I would really like to stop that Koval train.
So like when you guys play, are you guys like, and you see like, oh crap, I have to play like Cole's, like, oh, like not again, like at a national.
Yeah, I hate it because it's like, god damn it, like I do this every fucking week, and I do well sometimes, like I said, but sometimes he'll just be on his stuff and he'll know the mix-ups to my mix-ups and he'll just capitalize on me really hard. And I feel like if I am able to beat Cobalt consistently, I can beat any Fox in the world because. For me, at least, he's like definitely the hardest Fox to fight, just because he knows me so goddamn well.
What about people like Hungry Box?
I feel like we've been making good mileage in the Puff matchup and like against Hungry Box. Uh, Even though we haven't had, we do have one Puff here, Envy. who we can like test out our theories on and stuff. Uh, I'm probably more optimistic about fighting Hungrybox than maybe Gravy or Wizzy. Just because I feel like every time I fight him, I don't really get destroyed. I kind of do pretty well. So I wouldn't like consider him a major target. He obviously still is, but uh, I wouldn't put up labbing Sheik stuff over labbing Jig stuff just to stop Hungrybox.
Makes sense. And then you guys do pretty well. I mean, I imagine the 20GX style being pretty good against floaties in general. I think the playstyle is like really consistent and it really
Mhm.
abuses the lack of movement. Have you guys, ever played Armada's Peach?
I have played Armada's Peach at CEO. Uh, Super hard. He likes to bait out. He knows when your Falcon likes to go in for the Nair, and he'll just like bait that out and then punish you really hard for it. But I think Armada beating us is just like a better player thing. Like he doesn't flub his punishes or his execution. He catches you in one neutral interaction and then you're dead. Whereas we might flub up a full conversion from that one neutral interaction we won. I just think Armada's just a better player.
Do you guys lap against Falco?
Um, we haven't uh, really seriously labbed him in a while. We kind of just play the Falcos here in Florida, and I feel like I played Falco for so long living here in Florida that I kind of have a really natural grasp on the matchup, and I actually think Falcon wins that matchup for sure. I'm like 100% sure Falcon wins the Falco matchup. I'm not even like giving you 20 GX bullshit like rhetoric. I legitimately think he wins the matchup, and that's because if you can neutralize Falco's lasers, you both outmaneuver and outrange him, and you can kind of just pick him apart. And neutralizing the lasers isn't really that difficult. And I feel like it's kind of really obvious as well when the Falco is going to start lasering or wants to laser.
Hmm. Do you think there's like a growth in interaction there? Because the Falco could just choose not to laser, fade back, watch you approach, and like up tilt too, which is something I see West Bulls do very often.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but you can still as well as Falcon, you can recognize that and pull back yourself and land in that range where if you would have jumped here, uh, your nair would have tipped him, like the tip of your toes would have hit him. But if he didn't jump, then you're just out of range of the up tilt.
Do you think Falcon outright loses any matchups?
Um, I think at the very highest level, he doesn't lose any matchups, or at least he doesn't lose them as nearly as bad as people think. Like I think at worst, uh, Falcon Falcon Sheik might be even or slightly in the other character's favor, and this is at like the highest level where people aren't messing up their executions as much and their punishes as much. And I think Fox is definitely doable because of tech chasing. I think if Falcon was a character who could only destroy floaties and he didn't have a tech chasing option, he would be like super down in the dumps.
Hmm. If you were to balance pouch Falcon, what would you add or improve or try to balance?
I'd want to make his jump squat like 1 frame better, 1 or 2 frames better. I would like a shorter jump squat,
Well, why? Why?
and
How would that improve for people that aren't really familiar with that? How would that improve Falcon's game?
it would allow him to access his aerials sooner and allow him to get launched into the air sooner. Uh, because if you have a when you're thinking about options to counter Fox and stuff, you have to think about, okay, I could like nair at this position and nair comes out on this frame, but now I have to calculate like this 4 frame jump squat I have, whereas Fox has like this really short one as well as Sheik. So it just launches you into the air quicker, and 1 frame off your jump squat is pretty huge in melee. I feel like.
Hmm.
What else would I do? I don't think he needs a shine. I would like to make gentlemen like push back on their shield more, so it would be like less shield grabbable. So he could kind of have like an even better pseudo shine. But he's a great character.
Hmm. I see. What else is there? I had one more question that I was thinking about. Is there anything you want to add to the stream that for people that don't know you?
Uh, hmm. What can I add? I feel like I've said so much.
Tell something quirky about yourself,
Quirky.
or tell us
Uh,
about the beanie that you used to always wear.
that's a good topic. Yeah, so for a while, I always wore a classic Gahtzu beanie, and I would always have it really far back on my head. And the whole point with the beanie and wearing it far back on my head was that I wanted people to know that I absolutely wasn't wearing it because I was cold. I'm just wearing it for stylistic purposes. So I thought it was like a funny little kind of, I guess, social commentary of like, I'm definitely not wearing this because I'm cold. Like, I'm only wearing this because it looks cool. And I wore it so much that it kind of became a thing people associated me with. And I didn't like having to be expected to wear a beanie. It kind of, I wore the beanie because I felt like it. I thought it looked a little different. But once it became a thing that was like expected and I kind of felt like I was starting to wear it just for my fans. I'm like, well, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to be a slave just to like what all these people, they like to see the funny Gahtzu beanie. So I said, fuck the beanie. Like, I'm just not gonna wear it anymore because so many people want me to wear it and expect me to wear it that uh, I just like to do my own thing. So I kind of cut it off for now.
I liked stealing it from you and trolling you,
Oh yeah.
and now I can't do that anymore. So that makes me sad.
Yeah, and every time I see DJ Nintendo, he always says I'm not the real Gahtzu without the beanie. So maybe if I go to New York tournament, I'll wear one just for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I miss you without the beanie. I think the hilarious thing was when West Balls, tried the Gatsu look.
What? Just start wearing beanies or something?
He did an impression of you where he wore a beanie and tried to
Oh
impress you.
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember that. And the glass stuff.
That was pretty good.
Yep, it
Well,
was it was a great look.
are you looking into getting sponsored? I know that you have a programming job, which presumably pays probably decently.
Yeah.
Would you ever drop that to play full time if an opportunity came up?
I definitely like. I would love to just uh, do full time Smash. That would be so sick. But at the same time, it is a little scary when you think of like long term because going a year without programming is like a huge dent in your resume. So if I were to like quit programming for Smash right now, it would kind of be like all my eggs in one basket kind of thing, and it would be really difficult for me to find a if anything went wrong in Smash, for me to find a job in programming again because I took like an entire year off. Technologies and frameworks have evolved in 1 year very quickly. So I am looking for a sponsor, and I'm looking to even travel to more tournaments than I do now. But I don't know. I'm not sure if my mentality could handle actually like quitting a programming job to do that, just because it'd be so difficult to get back into it later. Like I've gotten to this point in programming while putting so much time into Smash that like I'm really lucky to be where I am right now, given the amount of time I've put into it versus Smash and stuff. So I'm kind of just playing it safe right now.
Hmm. I'm in like that weird zone too. Like I would love to go full esports, but like the opportunity cost of losing what I have is like, do I really want to do that?
Yeah, right. And we like I said, you're probably also super lucky to have your NASA job. I don't know how you got it, but uh, yes, super fortunate.
Yeah. What do you think about Scar? Like he was like he put up a challenge on his Scar and Toph show. I believe like 2 months ago, give or take.
Yeah, I don't know. Scar to me is just like this huge, like funny character in the melee scene. Uh,
So he's like Team Rocket, and you're Ash.
Maybe at this point, I'm kind of just like Scar's talking. I'm just kind of like, yeah, Scar, like you do what you want to do. Like I'm not gonna like stop you from trying to do whatever you're trying to do. But I just, it's really hard to take Scar like super seriously when he has that funny loud demeanor.
Is he like your uncle? Your like crazy loud uncle?
He sort of is. I actually have. I wanted to post on a Throwback Thursday day a picture of all the messages I used to send to Scar back in like 2010 or some years ago. I would like message Scar about a matchup. If you look at my Smashboards message history, it's just like a long list of Scar like Falcon versus Sheik, Falcon versus Falco, like Falcon versus Ganon. What do I do? And Scar giving me these little tidbits of advice. So when I was a little noob Falcon, Scar actually helped me a lot. So I can never fully front on Scar and like hate on him because he did legitimately help me when I was a younger, worse Falcon.
Fair enough. A lot of the old grades actually helped a lot in on Smashboards. I think a lot of people forget that. Maybe it's because most people don't use Smashboards anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's easier to contact someone on Smashboards as someone that they have no clue who you are than it is on Facebook.
Dude, I hate when random people message me on Facebook because like it goes in my other box too. So like I'm not gonna see it unless like I specifically click a bunch of crap.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The same thing happens to me. I get an other message and like I don't even want to look at it. I just add me as a friend or something. But then again, you can't add me as a friend either because I get so many friend requests. I don't know who's who, and they just kind of sit there in limbo.
Yeah. How many do you have?
I don't know right now. I could check, but I don't even know.
Damn, Gahtzu, you're too popular now.
I'm sure it's not as much as I'm making it out to be, but I do get a lot from people that I'm pretty sure I haven't met before.
You're too big now. You've changed. Alrighty. Well, do you want to give any shout outs?
Oh, have you seen the shoutouts to myself video?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, I'll link it to you so you can show it on stream. It's so funny. That's all I'll end it with.
Wait, did you do it or is it someone else that you?
Someone was interviewing me and they asked me the same question you did for shoutouts. Here you go.
You're such a troll.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
You're a troll. I'm also super trolly, but I think everybody already knows that.
Yeah.
Am I a troll? Do you think so?
Are you a troll? Yeah, of course. But you're like a little, like, you're not like a very loud troll. You're like a little like troll that like whispers in someone's ear and then and they're like, what? Like, what was that?
I'm a prankster.
Yeah, very very behind the scenes type of troll. Not like, you know, you know what I'm trying to say. You know what you are. You freak. Freak troll.
I tap you on the shoulder and then I hide.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You actually did do that.
All right, I'm gonna play this.
Do you have any other special shoutouts to anyone? Shoutouts to myself.
That's pretty funny. Well, any other shoutouts or is just yourself?
Just myself. Shoutouts to, I guess, 20GX. Obviously, that's great. Shoutouts to you, Tafo, for giving me the time. Yeah, I think those are the only people I care about. 20GX and Tafo.
Awesome. I'm glad I'm in that list. Well, thanks for coming on, Gahtzu. It's really appreciated, and I hope that you find a sponsor and that you continue to do well, progress the game.
Yep. Thanks, dude.
Alrighty.